Good morning, St. Francis, and good morning, people of God. It is Wednesday, the 20th day of August, 2025, Wednesday of the 20th week of the year, the 20th week in Ordinary Time, also the day in which we honor the memory of Saint Bernard. The man for whom the dog is named after was a Benedictine monk. Joined the Benedictines at the Abbey of Citeaux in France, was from the town of Clairvaux, so Benedict of Clairvaux is often, or Bernardine of Saint Bernard of Clairvaux is sometimes his full title. Was renowned for his work in trying to bring people to Christ. Was going to be a different kind of an abbot as he becomes abbot of the Abbey at Citeaux. He does not want the pomp and the circumstance that usually went into becoming an abbot or in the monastic world at the time, but decides to work to try to build harmony among peoples, and even within the monastery itself, which again in Bernard's time was a very stratified arrangement of living together with people with more rights and less rights, and even among the monks themselves. And so St. Bernard tries to be a person who equalizes a lot of the tensions and a lot of the oppression that was sometimes happening within the monastery itself. So we remember him, again, remembering always Benedictines, especially those that work to try to live the gospel as well as St. Bernard did. Our readings for today continues the book of Judges. The people are getting tired of judges who kind of come and go. What they want now is sort of a hereditary kingship. And a parable is given to them by, I forget which of the judges, sorry. But a parable is given to them about a number of trees, that want somebody to rule over them. And the thing is, none of the trees want to sacrifice what it is that they have in order to now go and do the job of reigning over somebody, ruling over somebody. And it comes basically at the end to the buckthorn, which is it's a tree that allows for a lot of shade, a lot of shadow and things like that, and it's comfortable to live in it. But the buckthorn says, you have to come to me to have me rule over you, and I'm not going to take that away from you. You're not going to take me away from where I am comfortable and what I like. You need to now be, under my shadow and things like that. And if you're not going to live that way, if you're not going to allow me to rule that way, well, then fire is going to consume you because I'm your last resort and I'm your last hope. And as what always happens whenever we want to have basically earthly ruling, trying to make our lives stable or give our lives some order, if we try to rely upon humans to do this, it's always going to be deficient in some ways, and we know how deficient it can be sometimes. The problem with Israel is that it is beginning to want more than just God ruling over them. It wants more than God's presence, in their midst. It wants something tangible, like another human being, and yet what God gives them is something no human being can ever give them. And so, Israel's sort of at a crossroads as it moves forward. If it asks for king, will God grant that to them? And if God does, what will happen to them if being ruled by another human being rather than being ruled by God and God alone? In Matthew's gospel today, we have the interesting kind of situation of equality under God's terms. A parable is given because the question is asked of Jesus, will everybody be given eternal life, or is it only be given to a few? And so Jesus gives the parable basically about a landowner who goes looking for workers, and he hires a series of workers throughout the day. Even at the last hour of the day, he hires some people who are just standing around doing nothing, but pays all of them the same. Again, raising the indignation of those who were hired first, who worked the most day, expecting to get more than everybody else. But everybody else gets the same because, as the landowner says, you agreed to the wage that I was going to pay you, did you not? So why are you, indignant, at the fact that I was generous, and so this is how it is. Again, with God, all people are welcomed, into this kingdom. It is not a kingdom to compete over. It's not a kingdom to try to do better than others in. It's not a kingdom of who's holier than thou and who is more devout than anybody else. That's the way the human beings understand being in the presence of God. For us, it is rejoicing at the fact that God calls and never stops calling, and will call even at the last moment for us to accept and to receive God's hand in friendship. There is no limit, to God's call, and that is something, again, to be glad of and to rejoice over. A blessed day, St. Francis and people of God. May the Lord give you his peace.